going, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Me Live. I am DJ Anthony. That is Magnus in California. I'm in here in New Jersey. You don't give a shit, neither do I. Okay, folks, listen, we're just two friends talking. Okay, we're not giving you medical advice. Don't listen to us. Now, Magnus, what if someone came up to you and said, because Magnus, you have a PhD in biochemistry, you're a trainer and all that stuff. And so if they said, Magnus, I'm 30-something years old or whatever, 20-something years old, I'm 40-something years old. What advice would you give me? I want to live to 100. What should I do?
Well, it's a super hard question. I think if we knew, some things we definitely know, but if we knew for sure, then yeah, it would be out there. I mean, people again. I think that it's for everybody's convenience, though, to live. But I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons of getting old, right? And
Well,
and
maybe
for
is this though. Let's just say, because if someone says, Magnus, I want to live to 100, but I want to live to a healthy 100, not just
thank you.
not
Yeah.
just I'm 100, but I can barely breathe,
Yeah.
can't walk, I'm fucking being tortured. Not that.
Yeah, no, I was exactly where I was going is quality of life, right? So let's it's functional, both mentally and physically, and be able to basically still kind of take care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So first off, I mean, I think educate yourself is very important.
Right.
Yeah. So without education and an understanding what you need to do, I think that's kind of like step one.
Right. Well, it's funny. Yeah, because you hear people say this stuff, and I hate. Listen, everyone's entitled to think the way they want to think, but I think we all know some people that are like, oh, well, you can't live forever. I don't want to live to 100. No, you do want to live to 100 if it's a healthy 100. And by the way, I know people who are 40 years old that really they're in horrible condition. So what should they do? Kill themselves? I mean, like, I know people in their 90s that are in better shape than some people in their 40s, literally.
Yeah, for sure. 100% nowadays.
Because losers, people who have loser mentalities would say that, like, oh, well, I don't want to live forever. Well, you're not living now either, sitting on your couch, watching Netflix, you can't even go upstairs. You're always aching. You're always complaining. You're always hurt. You're always sick. You're always tired. Like, is that a life? And you're 40? I don't know, dude. So, but
just an example. Go back and look at a movie from, let's say, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and then like check in on how old the actor or actress were, and then you compare that to nowadays. It's the same thing. It's like I think overall, if you take care of yourself, you are. I would say people in their 40s, 50s are like 20s, 30s if we go back in time, right? Because we're not doing a ton of physical labor, and like healthcare and knowledge have definitely like increased, and supplements and nutrition and I don't want to call them hacks, but definitely like we understand biology and all those things a whole lot more than we did 50 years ago.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, Magnus, feel like this, though, because I have friends like this, too. They know what they have to do, but they're not going to do it, and they think they can hack their way to a healthy old age. Like,
no.
Hey, if I go on these pills, if I get this medical procedure, if I take this injectable, if I take this medicine, I don't have to change shit. I can just abuse the body. And a lot of these people are Christians, which I even love, or Catholics. I love this even more because, oh, look at those sinners over there, but me, I don't. Meanwhile, they're destroying their own body, which is a sin.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Let's look at everybody else. And so it's like, no, you can't hack your way to 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100. You can't do it. So one of the things is, number one, stop smoking. 2, I would say never, ever, and I know a lot of people do this. I'm not saying make it illegal, but I'm just saying the CDC, WHO, and every doctor on earth will tell you there is nothing nutritional, nothing good about alcohol. No amount is safe. None. Not a drop. That's not my opinion. That's fact. Go look it up, folks. So never touch, not even for a wedding, not a bar mitzvah, not a college graduate. Never let alcohol touch your lips. Now, Have I had a toast during New Year's Eve? Sure. I can tell you, anybody who knows me, I don't drink. Anyways, smoking, drinking, let's start off with that. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, those definitely age you quickly. Another thing that I would add to that is a lot of stress, that you're not able to control your stress levels in some way or form, or you're not trying to, at least, and then lack of sleep, that people are not
Magnus,
sleeping enough.
It's funny you mentioned that. So, I typically get good sleep. However, I'm a walking stress machine, and
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you I had. I wish I could tell you I had good reason to be stressed. I don't actually. I don't have any good reasons to be stressed, but that is something that I struggle with, and that's my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
I have everything else. I got perfect. The only thing is that goddamn stress, and I put it on myself. And honestly, knock on wood, I don't really have any real reasons to be stressed. But my, the human brain is such, it makes up shit. So anyways, I'm working on that. It's an endless thing to work on. But my point is, I'm working on it, and I think everybody else should work on their Achilles heels. Okay, Magnus, what about this? This is not sexy. You're not allowed to say this. Listen, I always say, big is beautiful. If you're a full-figured person, man or woman, you're beautiful. God bless you. You're sexy. You're hot. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You're beautiful. That's great. But are you healthy, though? But are you healthy? But are you healthy? But are you healthy? Yeah, so being overweight is bad, 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 bad. It's just factual, scientific. Has nothing to do with my opinion.
It's the same thing where you're talking about smoking and drinking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, being over fat. So we're not talking about weight. We're talking about being over fat.
Right.
I would add under muscled to that. It's a combination of it.
Right.
Those two things age you extremely fast, because your metabolism sinks down, and you are carrying a lot of tissue, talking about fat, that is actually negative. I mean, that actually cause inflammation, that cause injuries, that cause damages, and so on to our biological system, if we're talking science here again. Which means that, yeah, you age quicker. You have a harder time of fighting off different types of diseases. We're talking about viruses and so on. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely not a positive thing of being over fat.
Right. People will say, "Oh, well, I'm not obese." It has nothing to do with obese, because people always think like, well, I'm not 900 pounds. You don't have to be 900 pounds to have a health problem. Even if you're 20 pounds overweight, that's bad.
Yeah, it's all genetics too. Some people can handle it better than others, but unfortunately, it could be I mean, just looking at weight, it could be very, very little. It's also what type of fat you have too, right? If you have a lot of visceral fat that are stuck in between your organs and things like that, it's even worse. So,
yeah. Now, by the way, you mentioned the word keyword here, genetics. Now, a lot of people like to cite, well, everything's genetic. No, genetics, yes, play a part, but nobody wants to talk about epigenetics, where you can turn on and off things. Everyone fails to mention that. So yes, genetics plays a part, but it's not the big part. I would say it's a part. I think the big part is everything we just talked about. Your smoking, your drinking, lack of moving, your epigenetics, meaning you can turn on things to hurt you or help you through what you eat, little man's here.
Yeah, Archie's back.
I'm sorry, Archie.
Yeah, no, he wants to join in. Yeah, hey, Papa. Thank you.
Kisses for you.
Yeah.
So I would also say this: bring your dog on. If you want to live to 100, get yourself a pet. Studies show anybody with a dog or a cat. I understand you're allergic. Wah wah. They get a turtle, get a fish, get some, an ant farm, whatever. But pets. We all know, again, scientific studies prove it. Go look it up. That pets help people's lives. Period.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we can add other more things to that too. Like it's shown that people that get married and have somewhat of a happy marriage live longer as well, especially men.
Right.
They usually, men are worse of taking care of themselves, especially if they're single, than females. And then we can add another thing too to that is if you have some kind of spiritual practice. I'm not talking about religion here. Spiritual practice that you feel that you're a part of a community,
Right.
and you do things to help others and so on. Several things that definitely help us live longer and reduce mortality rate.
Right. Yeah, I think you're onto that too. Again, no one's saying that you have to be the most religious person on earth, but once in a while, go to your church, synagogue, mosque, house of worship. You mentioned getting married. If you can, folks, try your best. Die trying to fall in love, because now I'm not talking about lust, and I'm not saying the person has to be perfect, but if you have a very good, intimate relationship with a man or woman, whoever, you are going to be happier and healthier. I'm not saying get shack up with anybody, but if we have a good relationship, great relationship, that I would say that's a big plus. Yeah.
And go back and look at our previous episode about marriage. That's another thing that would be helpful for people too. So we're kind of tying the circle back to that as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got a bad relationship, get rid of him, get rid of her. That'll make you healthier. Don't worry about the stigma of divorce. Just do it.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say is what we eat, right?
Yeah, 100. Diet has a huge impact.
Stay away from anything fried. Never, ever, never, 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 no exceptions. Never, ever, never, 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 never eat fried anything. Now, I understand. I've had some French fries in my life too. We all have. But you should, let's put it this way. I would say, just stay away from fried.
No, but it's I would say it's even easier. Processed food. Stay away from processed food.
Magnus, I don't think a lot of people even know what processed
means. Processed food is something that is created more in a lab than actually in nature. So we're looking at it. Everything
hamburger, man-made. Hot dog, man-made. Pretzels, man-made.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what type of hamburger you're eating, what meat and things like that. But we're looking at it overall. It's a lot of junk, and again, there's a lot of food additives and things that makes it so it's basically irresistible to eat it, and it's so easy. The fun part is that a lot of people don't even know how bad their diets are until they start cleaning up, and then like, man, I don't understand why I could eat that before. I was so tired. I was always getting sick, and like I had issues. My joints are hurting and things like that. So it definitely has a negative effect on us. The sad part, especially when I deal with, I see young people every day in school, and like horrendous. Most kids nowadays have such a bad diet. When I see it, I'm like, how could they even function?
Parents,
And because it's the easy route. Oh, they have to eat, and let's like whatever. Otherwise, they're gonna fight and things like that. Yeah, but again, if you're a parent and you have your kids, you need to set an example. You need to one that kind of explains how it works and things like that. And if you don't know, again, educate yourself, hire a coach, whatever you need to become better.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I think and here's another fact that people should think of. If you cook your own food and like have a little bit of knowledge of it, that's another way to reduce mortality rates.
Of course.
Because you know better. And it's the same thing. Like, look at it like the blue zones. Why do they live so much longer? Yeah, it's food is one thing, activity is one thing, not drinking a lot. When you're drinking, you're doing it usually for a social event. And that brings us also that you have a social network and a tribe, or you have a community, so you're constantly seeing other people, so you feel a part of something bigger, whatever it is, right? And I think that is also one of the most important things, because then you see that, for instance, but they're drinking wine. Yeah, they're having a glass of wine together with other people, socializing. So the negative effect, for instance, of alcohol gets pretty much reduced, and then you have other things that increases like your lifespan. So like the balance is like, when we're looking at it, the negative things kind of, the good part actually reduces or remove the back. Now, I'm not saying that you should be out drinking every single day or anything like that, but it's like why we can see that, like, okay, but they're drinking every day. Yeah, again, moderation, and also that they have a whole lot of other things while they're doing it that has a bigger positive effect.
Oh yeah, 100.
So,
No, you're right. I was gonna say also get your yearly checkup. Go to the doctor. Get your yearly checkup.
or at least a yearly, maybe 6 months or 4 months, or things like that. The older you get, I mean, the more often you should probably have a checkup, and like you don't have to run all like tests, but like rotate around them, do different things, do the most important stuff.
Yeah.
Other things like, again, your mouth hygiene is another
Go to your
thing that
dentist
has,
minimum once a year. Stop being
yep,
a
that
sissy.
has a very, very impact on overall health. And I'm one person that always gonna say resistance training, so strength training, because it helps you. You have more muscle mass, which is an active tissue. You have metabolism is higher, and so on. You also looking at, you have more muscles that protect you. You might protect yourself from falling because you have more reaction. You have more muscles that can actually hinder a fall and things like that, and so on. One thing that I want to say, I always say, oh, increase metabolism and things like that. A lot of the biohackers that say that, oh, prolonged life is that you constantly need to undereat a bit. Which, okay, yeah, it has been proven in science that we should not be overeating, but like slightly undereating, give or take. My take on this is that, yeah, don't gain bad weight. So start out one, and then like this, the second part is, but it also comes down to quality of life. If you're constantly under eating, and you're also eating, like, if you feel like your diet is boring, sooner or later you will fight that, and kind of completely flip over, and whatever, binge eat or whatever it comes down to. So there's always a balance, and I think that like life quality is something that we should definitely look more upon than kind of scoff at, because it's, you can be a billionaire, but being 60 years completely burned out, bedridden, you cannot enjoy it. So I'm always say that, like, don't just chase a single thing like 100%, unless it's like, again, happiness, like being happy, understanding what you have, focusing on what you have instead of what you don't have, and so on. All these things will add up. You will have a happier life, you will have a longer life, you have a higher quality of life, and so on.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and I would say get some friends. They don't have to be best friends. Get out, get interacting with humans. Get off the phone. Your Facebook friends are not your friends. Like get active. Eat whole foods, vegetables, fruits, fish, chicken, stuff like that. And I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Anyways, but keep your mind engaged. Read books. Do puzzles. Yeah,
do things that make you happy as well. I mean, it's the same thing. It's always funny when they usually interview people that have a long lifespan and ask them what they would change. One of the it was a lady, she was over 100 years, and when they asked her, she said, I should have eaten more ice cream. I thought that was so beautiful in one way. It's like, it's so simple and so beautiful, but because that's what she loved, and one thing that she loved.
When an American hears that, Americans, what? Eat more ice cream? Okay, I'll have it every day. No.
Yeah, that's not what we were talking about either.
That Americans will say like that,
Yeah, and unfortunately, the culture is so much. It's like what I always say about Texas. Everything in Texas is big, but it's the same thing. Like Americans, like it is very much like go big or go home. And you have to be number one, even if it's like the worst thing that you can be number one in, and so on. I'm not complaining about it. It's just the facts. But I think that people need to start like changing that like kind of consumerism mind thought all the time. Everything has to be the newest version, and it has to be yeah, to flaunt things, and even if you get in debt, we buy it anyway. I mean, it's like seeing people that can't pay their bills, they take a loan to go on vacation. I mean, like, no, you don't have a lifestyle to go on vacation. Even if your friends go, I mean, you need to like find something to actually making more money, or spending less money, so you actually can afford it for real. Not just like borrowing things and being in debt is such a stress factor, and is one of the like worst thing I think people end up doing in life.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. So no, sage advice, and I think we all know what we have to do, but it's also just getting motivated. But Magnus,
Yeah, community, find communities where you want to go, surround yourself with people that you want to like become, like what they're achieving and so on, and but that's going to change also over time, like, but you need to kind of strive for something, and not just sitting on your couch eating ding dongs and thinking that things will turn out great without doing anything, right? We like accept change. Like if you understand that you're like get comfortable being uncomfortable, you're in a good spot.
very good, Magnus. Well said. Excellent
Thank you,
advice.
sir.
That's all I have to say too. Magnus, anything else before we wrap up?
No, that's enough. I've talked too much already, so I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, man, it's all good stuff. All right, folks, you heard it. That's how you live to 100. It's not all luck. I understand anybody can have luck and you get hit by an asteroid. Anyways, most of it's our choices and what we do and don't do. Very good. I wish you health. I wish you love. I wish you success, everybody. Magnus, I'm out. Ready? Here we go.
Bye, guys.
2, 3. Bye.